WPG Talk Radio 104.1 presents Ask the Mayor. It's your opportunity to talk directly to Atlantic City Mayor Don Guardian. Brought to you by Lexus of Atlantic City, serving the community for 25 years. Luxury vehicles at the right price. Come see how easy, affordable, and satisfying the luxury car buying and service experience can be at Lexus of Atlantic City on Fire Road in EHT. Now, with Mayor Don Guardian, here's Harry Hurley.
Good evening and welcome to the Ask the Mayor program starring Atlantic City Mayor Don Guardian. We're going to get to your phone calls in just a little bit at 609-407-1450. On behalf of Town Square Media South Jersey President Michael Rubel, our Executive Program Director Chris Coleman, I am Harry Hurley, and it is a pleasure to welcome Mayor Guardian once again in studio for our two-time defending award-winning status as the best of the best program in the New Jersey Broadcasters Association contest each year. Mayor Guardian, welcome to your program. Good evening.
Thank you. Good evening, Harry. Great to be back. Beautiful day in the city. A little bit of rough weather with the storm, but both us and Bermuda are happy that it's right between us. So rough waves, but beautiful day at the beach.
Let's do a couple things because I know we're going to get a lot of phone calls. We want to get a lot of phone calls. The whole point of the program is for you to call in at 407-1450, 609-407-1450. You can also send your questions through social media. You can certainly go to Facebook, facebook.com/WPG1450. You can post your questions right there. And I already have one that we're going to share with Mayor Guardian a little bit later in the program. It has to do with a beach issue in Atlantic City, nothing like what they're dealing with in Margate right now, which incidentally, Mr. Mayor, I think that is just a tragedy what's going on. But that you've got enough to, on your plate, so we won't bring you down beach. For your planning purposes next month, we will reconvene on Thursday, September 14th. So you will know that that's right around the corner, and again, in the 6 o'clock hour. Mayor, let me give you an opening comment. Is there anything that you would like to begin the program with?
Just, it's the height of the summer. It's been a good summer so far.
The town is busy.
Yeah. If you had to rely just on outdoors, you may be down a little. Everyone else seems to be up. This week was particularly good. We started the weekend with the Red Bull Rally. If you got there, you knew how exciting it was. But to see it on TV with the Atlantic City skyline and almost every shot that they had was just great public relations for the city, a fun event. And then we had the Wedding of the Sea, and where that had dwindled maybe 10 years ago, now almost 3,000 people were there at Boardwalk Hall at Adrian Phillips Ballroom. A beautiful high mass with Bishop Dennis, and dedication of a new convent, which is something that we don't as Catholics get to see. We're usually closing churches and schools and convents, so it was great to be able to welcome the Sisters of St. Francis, dedicating to helping the poor, open up a convent in Atlantic City. A little bit rainy, but a wonderful festival after that. And then yesterday, easily 5,000 people, Bangladesh Mela. Was a wonderful event last night right up until midnight. And for those of you looking to do something tomorrow, it's the annual dedication of the monument up in Gardiner's Basin for fishermen that were lost at sea at 6:30 tomorrow evening. And then, of course, the air show, which you'll be hosting next week on Wednesday, is a great event. And don't want to forget, we kick off United Way donation season with a wonderful event, the Taste of the Trop on Monday. I know you're going to be broadcasting there as well, Harry.
Correct.
So I'll see you a couple of times at the event.
Very proud so far. As you know, the Hurley in the Morning charity stepped up. We made a $1,000 contribution.
Yes.
Wanted to give them a little push. And our dear friend, the president of Resorts Casino Hotel in Atlantic City, Mark Giantonio, is this year's chairman.
Yes, I know.
So it's going to be very, very good. We will be there from 4 to 6 p.m. We have a lot of great people, Chris Coleman, Joe Kelly. You're going to stop by. It's really going to be wonderful, and you'll be serving. And
absolutely,
we'll
yeah.
Be serving. It's really a great event.
It's a great event, and if you want to taste all the food at Tropicana and you're on a budget, this is the way to go to do it. And so if you taste a little bit from each of the restaurants, I understand Ulan is going to be there as well, so that's pretty exciting. The Jose Garces, wonderful new restaurant up at the Old Finn.
609-407-1450. Phone lines are open. We have so much that we want to catch up with the mayor, but we want to prioritize your phone calls as we always do, and we know you're standing by. We want more of you to check in. It is your opportunity to have direct access to your mayor, Atlantic City Mayor Don Guardian. One other quick programming note. Wednesday, August 23rd, Mayor, this upcoming Wednesday, you'll be our guest at 10 o'clock in the morning. Lieutenant Governor Kim Guadagno at 11 o'clock, and we'll have a whole lot of people in between, including a lot of the personalities from Town Square Media South Jersey, Joe Kelly, Chris Coleman, Heather DeLuca, anybody, Brady, Richmond, Mike, the Mike Show, Spring. It's going to be a wonderful occasion for the 15th annual Atlantic City Air Show, Thunder Over the Boardwalk, and this is the largest air show in the country, midweek.
Yeah, I know it. We surpassed Florida now.
Incredible. It's
very exciting, and Chamber does a great job every year with the air show. It's an exciting time to be there.
Without a doubt. Dee has been holding the longest, which means that she gets rewarded with the first call of the evening. A great friend of WPG, Early in the Morning, and the Ask the Mayor brand. Dee, you are on the air. Your question for Mayor Don Guardian.
Good evening, Harry. Good evening, Mayor. Thank you for taking my call.
Yeah.
I wanted an update. It's escalated, Mayor. But first, thank you for what you've done for this city. I can't believe what you've accomplished in the term. I'm voting for you. I switched from Democrat to Republican. You definitely have my vote. My taxes went from $2,700 to $1,300 a quarter. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Attempted home invasion, Mayor. A neighbor, 8:30 on a Friday. I'm street smart. I have a watch cat. As he was trying to break in the door, I was right on the other side of the door. And I confronted. I can be very intimidating. And he kind of got my message. But something has to be done. You have 20 and 30 people and 6 and 10 and 12 in a one-bedroom. It's a problem. It breeds stuff like this, Mayor. Something has to be done.
Mayor,
Dee,
I want to give the mayor an opportunity to respond, and your mic is still on as well. Is there a density problem, Mr. Mayor?
If there's a density problem, we're going to address it right away. Dee, I just want to meet with you tomorrow. Just give me a call at the office. But we'll have Del Finch and we'll have code enforcement down immediately. And I'm certainly going to have the police chief either there with me or we'll have Captain Kammerman if they've not been there already. But, we have the police department has been very, very good in responding to problems before they develop into major catastrophes for neighborhood. And we will hit it with everything we have. We've cleaned up Pacific Avenue. We helped on Texas Avenue. Bungalow Park is now in good shape. So, Dee, please, 347-5400, anytime after 8:30 or so in the morning.
One quick thing. This is for the public, if they're listening. We took care of the drug dealer. We have 3 cameras trained on his house.
That's great.
So he's behaving, Mayor. We did handle that problem.
I have to tell you, the crime statistics are down drastically. But what I hear with the police officers all the time, it's rare for them not to have the communications, the surveillance room, now chime in. So they announce that there's a 911 call, what's going on, and before they complete that communications, surveillance chimes in and tells them where they see the perpetrator, where the perpetrator is going, where the perpetrator has been, and they're running the tape back.
What a disinfectant that is.
Yes, it's unbelievable.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
It worked for us. And need more cameras on the streets that's hooked up to you, Mayor. You really do. Mayor, the National Guard.
Yes.
Especially with these drugs. I think the black population would go for it, too. They're having a hell of a problem uptown with all the drug busts you've had. Just to clean up the city, Mayor, only temporarily.
Well, I want to tell you, just because it came in, we just on the tourism district, that's what the 45 police officers that the casinos are paying for. They have made 450 arrests so far. They gave out 4,232 tickets. This is since January and things. So, I mean, we're very, very serious. 2,000 calls. They stopped in 7,000 properties to do property checks. So we're being very serious. It doesn't matter where you are. We're going to make sure that it's inhospitable for people that are doing the wrong things. And that includes drugs and break-ins and carjackings, all of that.
I'm 73. I have to hire somebody to watch my house when I go out shopping there. That's how bad it is. I had to do a rent-a-cop in California. All right, I've taken up enough of your time.
Thank you,
Dee, thank you. Talk to you tomorrow. Thank you.
Thanks for being a great citizen. 609-407-1450. Citizen Larry. Say hello to Mayor Don Guardian. You're on the air. It's Ask the Mayor.
Harry, I want to ask the mayor. Mayor, thank you for serving Atlantic City. And my observation is that it seems like you're doing it like unselfishly, not for self-promotion, not for self-aggrandizement, but it seems as though you're doing it because you genuinely, honestly want to really help out Atlantic City, and especially all those that say might be in the lower social stratus of the population. I think they really are very grateful to you for what you're doing. Because even along with that, I understand that you, in fact, will not receive any government retirement pension benefits at all. So you're really working like unselfishly for us, and that brings me to the point of my question. One outstanding thing that I heard, and maybe you can explain more about it, is that you've created something that's called the Mayor's Job Placement Program that is already arranged for over 600 people to get jobs, people that desperately needed work, and not government jobs, not city jobs, but your program is helping them to get other jobs to sustain themselves. Can you explain more about that and how that works, and how anybody that really needs a job should maybe come by and stop and see you on this, and likely they can be helped?
Sure. Larry, thank you. I'll do job placement. I'll go back to that pension issue as well. So when I became mayor, I really wanted to have some effective way to do job placement. And I'm not trying to knock all of the institutions that are involved, but all I saw was a lot of training going on, but not placing people in jobs, which is what they really wanted. So they got excited. They went to the training and they didn't have a job. So I started with the Chamber of Commerce, CRDA. I was able to get funding from CRDA in the amount of $400,000, another $100,000 from Atlantic City Electric, and we started the job placement program. You said 600, actually it's 700 now. All you have to do is walk into City Hall, and immediately in back of the desk is the elevator, and the very first office is job placement program. We have people that speak Spanish and English, and we can get people that speak both Vietnamese and Bangladesh almost immediately. It clearly, what I intended it for was for Atlantic City residents, but we don't turn anyone that comes down there. And I know that there's almost 200 people that are not Atlantic City residents we've been able to place in jobs. So wow. That's a way to get jobs right now. Of course, the exciting news is that next year, Hard Rock, 3,000 jobs. They're ranging, from everything from cleaning rooms to being a bartender to a chef to being an accountant to being an attorney, and then another 200 jobs over with South Jersey Gas when they open up their corporate office, and about 200 jobs at the university. So next year in the springtime, you'll be seeing job fairs all over the city, but it's very, very good news for Atlantic City residents and Atlantic County residents, both of which are going to get a preference for the jobs that are there. So that's the job placement program. It's
Excellent.
Still there. Eric Reynolds, I've been very impressed with. He had worked for the county for years, and then he's the guy that the Borgata had hired, I guess, 14 years ago. That got more than 2,000 people into jobs before they opened. So Eric's been heading up the program. I did just want to touch on pension because I know some people have provided some misleading information. So I worked for the Boy Scouts of America and things. I had my retirement plan for myself. I worked for the Special Improvement District. They were a private, not-for-profit corporation. Same thing. Whatever money I put in, I have now. It's in an IRA. When the SID was taken over by CRDA, for 2 years I put money into what would have been a state pension, but since you had to be there 10 years, 20 years to get benefits, I all I got back was the money I put in. I had to wait 3 years to get that money. No interest, no match, nothing like that. And for the mayor's office, it's going to be the same thing because elected official pensions are different than everyone else's pensions. So I have them take money out because that's the only safe way that I know that I'm going to make that a donation every month without thinking about what my other bills are. But at the end of the time, I'm the mayor. I'm going to be petitioning the state to receive the money that I gave them back. There'll be no interest, and I'll put that money in my IRA as well. So, no, I have no state pension, city pension, and nothing else. I'm going to collect my IRA, and I'm going to be on a retirement like everyone else from the money I put into Social Security. So, thank you for both points,
well,
Larry.
Mayor, thank you so much for that, and keep up the good work. And honestly, your jobs program is kind of novel. I never heard of anybody else doing this. So, what a wonderful provision you are making for the citizens of Atlantic City.
Thanks, Larry. That's the number one concern right now, outside of the taxes, is jobs, and so that's the real the focus that everyone has to have for our residents. A reduction again next year in property tax and jobs.
Hey,
keep up the good work.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Larry.
Larry. Let's get our first break in. I hope I am not stretching Don, who is on hold. Not you, Mayor, but Don, who is your next caller, and Tom right after that. But let's stay ahead of the clock so we can have a nice, long, uninterrupted second segment when we come back. We only take 2 breaks during the Ask the Mayor program, and you can pose your question simply by dialing 609-407-1450. You can email your question either to me, Harry Hurley, at AOL.com, or you can get us right through the WPGTalkRadio.com website or on social media, Facebook.com/WPG1450. You use the hashtag. You can use the hashtag Ask the Mayor. And I can tell you it works, and it works well, because we have a gentlelady question about pipes that are on the beach, and they're visible, exposed at this point. And this gentlelady, and I'm sure a lot of people would like to know, will they ultimately be buried, or are these just going to be on top of the sand in perpetuity? So we'll get to that. I want to get both Don and Tom in first, though, and then you'll be next at 609-407-1450. With the Honorable Mayor of the City of Atlantic City, Don Guardian, I'm Harry Hurley in the evening, and this is Ask the Mayor, exclusively on WPG.
Why buy a Lexus from Lexus of Atlantic City? For over 25 years, they've taken as much pride in their customer service as they do in their vehicles. They offer a huge selection of new and pre-owned cars, SUVs, and crossovers, and provide elite customer service with world-class amenities. Buying a luxury car is never intimidating at Lexus of Atlantic City. It's luxury at the right price. Visit them at 3169 Fire Road in Egg Harbor Township or LexusofAtlanticCity.com.
WPG Talk Radio 104.1 presents Ask the Mayor. It's your opportunity to talk directly to Atlantic City Mayor Don Guardian. Brought to you by Lexus of Atlantic City, serving the community for 25 years. Luxury vehicles at the right price. Come see how easy, affordable, and satisfying the luxury car buying and service experience can be at Lexus of Atlantic City on Fire Road in EHT. Now, with Mayor Don Guardian, here's Harry Hurley.
Thank you very much. A privilege to be here with you monthly for the Ask the Mayor program. We're at 27 minutes past the hour. Mayor Guardian and I just shared during the break. It's just remarkable how fast this program evaporates each and every month. It's extraordinary, and you make it so. And make no mistake about it, this program is about you. It's about your opportunity to have access to Mayor Guardian, not just in an election year. We've been doing this program for years. You know, we'll get into some of that if time permits. But this is about you having the opportunity to talk about your city, how you think things are going, anything that you would like to bring to the mayor's attention. And much like Governor Christie does the Ask the Governor program, Mayor Don Guardian's team, they're listening to the program. So if somebody hears a public works question, they're on it. They're on it as you're saying it. So don't think that your phone calls don't matter. They really do. And, Mayor, if I've said anything you don't agree with, please correct me.
No.
It's important, and we're going to prove it. Don is here next to speak to Mayor Don, and then Tom is on deck. Don, welcome to Ask the Mayor. You're on the air with Mayor Don.
Yeah, Mayor, I got a question about the dunes. The height of the dunes in Atlantic City seem to be much higher than anywhere else you go. Has the city ever tried to lower the height of the dunes? And if not, is there any future plans to try to negotiate some type of agreement with the respective parties? Maybe widen them out a little bit more instead of having the height so high.
Good question.
Yeah, Don, so I am 100% behind you on that. Wider dunes and lower is where to go. When I was with the Special Improvement District, I had asked a couple of mayors in a row about it, and they explained what I'm going to explain to you, that the Army Corps of Engineers make you sign a written agreement and a contract, and if they're going to give you the replenishment, you can't change or alter the dunes.
You can't touch it.
You cannot touch it.
But what's not fair, though, Mayor, is the vegetation is higher, it collects,
But
and
Harry,
so they should be able to.
Yes, yeah. So, Harry, when I was with Sid, what I did is I didn't care about that because they're not going to sue me.
So you did it anyhow.
So I just did anyway. I had a backhoe and a bulldozer, and we used to play with the dunes all the time. And all I did was keep them at the height of Ventnor, which I think is reasonable. So I definitely value the dunes there. But from the boardwalk, you should be able to see the beach and the ocean, not have this blocking you. Now, I have to say that the SID, the CRDA, is doing a good job. I see them every single morning with 3 guys with weed whackers cutting down what is excessively high dune grass, which shouldn't be there. So they bring it down. The reason for the height of the dunes, Don, is because of the assessed value of property in Atlantic City. So that's our fault, our payment, because casinos were valued so high, the dunes had to be that high. It'll be a good question now with the assessed values of casinos dropping so drastically. That is the assessed value of the actual property.
They should reassess.
If, when they go, we should be able to get reassessed. So, Ventnor's probably the perfect height for the dunes, in my opinion. We're not allowed to touch them.
You need a dune appeal, like the tax appeals.
I know. Yeah, absolutely.
Don, anything else?
No, I think it's a great idea. I think it's something that probably both sides sit down that should be easily worked out. It's not a drastic request.
It's only fair. You're not looking to take them lower than they started. It's just they're getting out of hand.
Yep. Don, I'm writing it down when I do. Tomorrow morning it'll be on my list, and I'll be talking to our friends at this point with the Army Corps, because we're going to be planning their next project as they get completed with the replenishment this year.
Very good.
Thank you for listening and calling in, Don. Have a good night.
Have a nice evening.
Thank you, sir.
You too.
609-407-1450. Let's say good evening to Tom. Tom, welcome to Ask the Mayor, your question for Mayor Don Guardian.
Yeah, good evening, gentlemen. Both of you are good at what you do. I just want to thank you, Mayor, for always being accessible to everybody. I have 2 questions for you. The pumping station at Rhode Island and Melrose Avenue, they also started to put a bulkheading that starts to run up Massachusetts Avenue. Do you know if that's going to be extended? Because there basically is no bulkheading up there in Bungalow Park at the Fisherman's Park. It's right at the level where there's a park there, and whenever the heavy rain or flood, the water just comes right on over, and the whole area gets flooded.
Yep. Do you want to do the second question, Tom, and then I'll do both answers, or do you want me to answer the first? It's up to you.
No. And the second is I heard a headline this week that the flood insurance rates are going to be reduced by 20%, I think it was.
Yes.
Sometime this coming year. If you can elaborate on that and explain.
Sure.
And that's it. Thank you.
Yep. Okay. So
Thank
both related.
You can hold on in case you have a follow-up.
Yep.
Go ahead, Mayor.
Both related to flooding. So there's a floodgate at the end of George Avenue. It's actually called Atlantis. That's already completed. The new floodgate is in. All of the work that had to be done there, including a hydraulic pumping station, is now in place. They're doing the same thing at Rhode Island Avenue. So when they finish, all of that's going to be covered up. You're going to see the floodgate again, and then you'll see a relatively small building, and that's going to have the hydraulic pump. They are doing bulkheading along what's called Fisherman's Park there. So when they finish, we'll be adding some type of walkway, whether it's a boardwalk or concrete or wood or gravel, but certainly we want to make sure the people from Bungalow Park can easily access the basin by cutting off the park and walking through. It is not going to go down all the way on Massachusetts Avenue. It's going to go down to meet Adriatic Avenue's bulkheading on Massachusetts. The next big job, though, and all of this work that's being done in the city is not going to help the people at the end of Massachusetts and Carson. It is going to help everyone from Pacific Avenue all the way to the Bay, from Main Avenue or Rhode Island Avenue now, all the way to about Georgia, maybe Florida, right in that area there. It'll alleviate all of that nuisance flooding. For the end of Massachusetts Avenue, so, I'm coming down, and instead of going into Cameraman's Marina, I'm making a right. If on my left, you'll see that the bulkheading is absolutely shot. The Army Corps of Engineers is going to be rebuilding that boardwalk. When they do that, they have to rebuild the street too, because the street is actually caving in because of that bulkheading. Because there are so many homes that have been built on Massachusetts Avenue, they can't raise the street. That would be the easiest way. So they're going to be putting in hydraulic pumps. So you'll have the bulkheading preventing the bay from rising up, but the water that does come in and gets caught by the new bulkheading, keeping it on the ground, will be pumped out. But that's still a year or two away. We just met 2 weeks ago with the Army Corps of Engineers, and they're just still doing the study provisions. I want to say about $5 million is going to be that project. So that's the pumping station. The one on Rhode Island Avenue, you should see completed in the next 2 months. And, we're thinking in November, the November high tide, we won't have the flooding in the low-lying areas. The second point is what's going on with your flood insurance. So there was a series of work that's been done over the last couple of years. Some of it is bulkheading. Some of it is the rock jetty that you see along the inlet. Some is this Baltic Canal that's been rebuilt. And then a lot of it is just, I hate to say bureaucracy, lots of paperwork talking about how many homes we raised, how many homes we plan to raise, what the elevation is, what percentage of the city is above the 13-foot mark. Having completed all that, we sent it back to FEMA. And they were able to review. And so the point system that we had before was drastically reduced. And what that means is that across the board, as you get your new flood insurance, which will be traditionally March or April for most people, you'll see a 20% reduction in the actual cost of flood insurance because of all these projects that are going to be good for the city in terms of future flooding. The last thing I just throw in on that, this kind of little innovative because no one else has done this. There's a plant on Atlantic Avenue. It's right after the walk ends, across from the hospital, and it has been providing chilled water and heated steam for the Claridge, Bally's, Wild West, Caesars, Trump Plaza, and the convention center, meaning the new Boardwalk Center, the old convention center. They are putting in a new generator in that location that's going to provide electricity as well. And they're going to expand it to include the hospital. When they do that, they're also going to have some type of device that's going to be able to close off this grid. And the reason is that in the event of a nor'easter or, God forbid, a hurricane, we would be able to close off the grid, and from the hospital all the way to Boardwalk Hall, including all those hotel rooms and restaurants, we would be able to provide them with electricity, steam, for heat and air conditioning. And it meant rather than having to take everyone off the island, we'd be able to handle 20 or 30,000 people between Boardwalk Hall and I'm already figuring Trump Plaza is not going to be there, so I'm just talking about Caesars and Bally's and
Will the
Claridge.
garage be there, though?
And yeah, I sure hope so, Harry.
That would be smart.
The garage makes sense because the last garage built in Atlantic City was the Wave Garage, and it was just under $30 million. That's the cost. So
keeping the garage would be...
You can build a condo, you can build an apartment house. You can't afford to build that parking garage.
Yeah.
So the parking garage is very, very valuable, needs some work, but structurally sound. I think you'll see the garage stay. But that grid work is part of this reduction because it provides that we have a very resilient plan and we'll be able to stay in business for that week or two before things get cleaned up after the next major hurricane.
How's that, Tom?
That's great. Thank you so much. Good luck in November, and God bless you both.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you very much,
Have
Tom.
a great
Thanks for
evening.
listening.
Enjoy the rest of the summer.
You are listening to Mayor Don Guardian. The program is Ask the Mayor. The station is WPG. We're on Talk Radio 104.1 FM, 1450 AM. If you have an HD radio, check us out at 104.9 FM on the second channel, HD2 it's called, and of course everywhere and anywhere at WPGTalkRadio.com. We will be here until a few minutes past the top of the hour, and then we'll join the Mark Levin program already in progress. Mayor, I have a bunch of questions for you. Listeners have been emailing questions in. This is a question from the south side of the city, and it's relative to the pipes on the beach. And this gentlelady listener would like to know, will they be buried ultimately, or are they going to remain visible and exposed?
Yeah. So, Harry, I'm assuming this is not the outflow pipes that go from the end of the street underneath the beach, have been there for, 50 or 100 years, but rather the very large black pipe that they've now put sand dunes so you can walk over them. I think that's the pipe we're talking about.
I do think it. And
yes.
To the gentlelady, if that is indeed correct, let us know.
Yep.
And if it's something else, let us know. We'll rephrase the question to the mayor. But let's proceed like it is that.
Right. So certainly that if you look at the beach, running parallel to the beach is this big, ugly pipe that's got to be 4, 5, 6, 8 feet high. It's a big pipe. That's where all the sand is coming in that's doing the replenishment of the beach. I'm up in the southeast inlet, so I can tell you that at the beginning of the summer, we had that pipe from New Hampshire all the way down
that
to...
That pipe is actually pushing the sand?
The garden pipe. That's pushing the sand. So sand's coming in from the inlet, the Brigantine Inlet, and it's coming through that pipe. And so for about 3 or 4 weeks, we had that pipe. It's gone now. The pipe is in the center of the city, and it's going all the way down. I know it's at least at Albany Avenue. I'm trying to think this morning, but it was below that too. So that's being sand that's pumped into the beaches. It's a couple of weeks, but that pipe will absolutely be gone. You'll see that after they take about a week to close about 3 blocks at a time, they do pile sand so you can walk over the pipe to get to the beach. But it's just a short-term inconvenience. It's a $9 million project that obviously the city wouldn't be spending for the beach replenishment. And for those people that say it's only good through the first couple of nor'easters, I can't disagree. But it's certainly nice to have triple the beach that we had just a month ago. So
no question about it.
A temporary inconvenience right now, but it'll be gone shortly.
Nice to see the improvement, and also nice to see it'll be gone. And the listener has already written they're extremely happy with your answer. Let's go to our final break. We'll come back. If you want to jump in, phone lines are clear for the first time tonight at 609-407-1450. If you would like to speak to Atlantic City Mayor Don Guardian, the time is now. We'll be back in just a few minutes. When we come back, we're going to talk about the Boardwalk. A listener has written into the program. This is very kind. Actually, the listener wrote, "I love my mayors." So I'm getting my standing as the mayor of the morning.
Nice. But
clearly, this citizen loves you, Mr. Mayor. And it says, for the mayor, this will be for when we come back, but we'll put the question out there now. What is the status of the Boardwalk to Gardner's Basin? And will Al Roker be invited to the ribbon cutting? We need the publicity because people still think our boardwalk is gone. It's amazing what he did when he falsely broadcasted to the world that the Atlantic City Boardwalk had been destroyed. Do you know when they're booking the city, they're still hearing that, Mayor?
Yes, I know. And, we'll talk about when we get back.
Right after the break, just a few minutes. 609-407-1450. You never are. Don't be shy. There's no bad questions. There's no dumb questions. Any question that you have for the mayor, please check in. 609-407-1450. It's Ask the Mayor on WPG.
Why buy a Lexus from Lexus of Atlantic City? For over 25 years, they've taken as much pride in their customer service as they do in their vehicles. They offer a huge selection of new and pre-owned cars, SUVs, and crossovers, and provide elite customer service with world-class amenities. Buying a luxury car is never intimidating at Lexus of Atlantic City. It's luxury at the right price. Visit them at 3169 Fire Road in Egg Harbor Township or LexusofAtlanticCity.com.
WPG Talk Radio 104.1 presents Ask the Mayor. It's your opportunity to talk directly to Atlantic City Mayor Don Guardian. Brought to you by Lexus of Atlantic City, serving the community for 25 years. Luxury vehicles at the right price. Come see how easy, affordable, and satisfying the luxury car buying and service experience can be at Lexus of Atlantic City on Fire Road in EHT. Now, with Mayor Don Guardian, here's Harry Hurley.
Thank you, and welcome back to Ask the Mayor. Oh, my gosh, I'm looking at the clock. I can't believe it. 46 minutes past the hour. Don't be shy. Joe is our next caller. We did say right before the break, though, that we would answer Elizabeth's question, and I think it's a really good one, and I think she has a fantastic idea. She should be in marketing. Mayor, what is the status of the Boardwalk to Gardner's Basin, and will Al Roker be invited to the ribbon cutting? We need the publicity because people still think our boardwalk is gone.
So that is a great idea. As you know, we both have the same contact for NBC, so I think that's a real doable one. That'd be a nice way to kick off Memorial Day
and you know
next year.
He owes a make good.
Yes.
Because he did something very, very bad.
Yep.
It would be great of him to come back and do that.
No question, and I'm gonna provide the bicycle tour for him, and be happy to have Louis cook him breakfast at the house afterwards.
Awesome.
So let's just talk about the boardwalk.
Yeah.
So if you've been if you went on the boardwalk this summer, you know the boardwalk ended at Rhode Island Avenue. So right about where Revel was, that's Metropolitan. Next block, that was the end of the boardwalk, and everything had been removed. It was just a dune. You never thought the boardwalk was there. That boardwalk that goes all the way to the end of the ocean, so the T-jetty, is absolutely restored. The boardwalk is the best it's ever going to be. It's wide, it's beautiful, it's all new wood, concrete underneath. It's got railings, it's got beautiful LED lighting, it's got the Adirondack chairs and the benches for you to have your kids kick off the sand before they come off the beach. You have planters, you have entrances to each beach, you have the arches, even the handrails have PVC piping, so you don't have to worry about splinters.
That's
so we
nice.
really took a lot of care for that section of the boardwalk. I get off at New Hampshire Avenue personally because it's an easy ride, and New Hampshire is a nice ride for bicycles. But the boardwalk, as we speak now, goes down to the end, and then it actually makes the turn. When I say it makes the turn, it means that the decking is there, and so is the railing, and the boardwalk continues. So it would go to the next block, which would be Oriental, and it's completed there, but it's not open. And then it goes to Pacific Avenue, and then as of this morning, you could see that both the decking and the railing have reached Euclid Avenue, and it's on its way to Atlantic Avenue. So it's between Euclid and Atlantic right now, but you're not going to see that open until it gets to the flagship, which is Gramercy. And at Gramercy, they're putting in the pilings as we speak to turn the boardwalk and return it back to the promenade from Gramercy going into McClinton Park. At McClinton Park, the problem is you had to go back to New Hampshire and then come back Melrose Avenue because that block was missing. Well, that boardwalk is now complete, and as of this morning, they had poured the concrete ramp, so it's just a matter of a few days for that concrete to cure, and then you're going to be able to, once you get back on Gramercy Avenue, to stay on the boardwalk, cross McClinton Park, cross the new boardwalk that I'm talking about, putting you back on the promenade and taking you all the way to Caspian Avenue. So that's the status right now. Once the Army Corps finishes and gets the sign that they can leave, then the city bill will be actually adding a few additional steps so you can get to some of those rock jetties for fishing. So right now you had to climb and hang and dangle to get to them. Certainly, I've been talking to Noel at the bait shop on Atlantic Avenue, and I promised him we would have several steps that would be able to give you easy access from the boardwalk, certainly at the T-jetty, absolutely at Gramercy Avenue, and I think he has one or two other jetties that he thinks would be safe and really good. And so, Memorial Day will have it, but Al Roker coming back and doing a live show will be great there and stuff like that. Thank you very much for that suggestion.
Super idea. And there is and there will be more boardwalk than any time in the history of Atlantic City.
Yes, and then the last section, which I didn't speak about because it's only going to start in the next couple of months, will be from Caspian Avenue. Even though you can just go right into Gardner's Basin now, it's going to go around what was the Garwood Mills piece and actually bring you into Gardner's Basin, right where the restrooms are now, which was the old Holy Spirit baseball locker rooms.
I want to get to Joe, but I want to just say this real quick, and you may have a quick comment about it. The connecting it to Gardner's Basin, I believe, will open Gardner's Basin to many people who had never gone before.
Yeah, no
There's
question.
just something about having that wonderful path that changes the game.
That's it. And I think what happens is that gives the impetus not only for the lease of Gardeners Basin, but someone to buy the Krishna property, the Garwood Mills property, and develop it together. The existing Gardeners Basin has a lot of restrictions on it because it was sold as part of Green Acres, but the Garwood Mills has absolutely no restrictions on it. So all of your retail can be there, and you can use Gardeners Basin to stay for parking. You could add maybe miniature golf, something that keeps it open.
Mayor, a listener who's a big fan of yours actually wrote me minutes ago while you're talking about this exciting boardwalk expansion, and they want to know if you're going to be doing anything with benches, for example, where people might be able to sponsor a bench. When you mentioned Gramercy Avenue, this was very meaningful to this individual.
Absolutely.
They could do something like that?
Yeah. When we were with the Special Improvement District, all of those benches were purchased. You could put a plaque on them. CRDA does not want to take on the liability, so they haven't done it, but the city does. So the city doesn't have any problem. So just call my office, but we absolutely will allow people to dedicate benches on the boardwalk. It has to be the same style that we're using up there, but absolutely. I think I did it myself for my aunt and uncle's 50th anniversary. I had bought them a bench because they love nothing more than to come down from Saddlebrook and enjoy the casinos and the boardwalk every month. Our
listener who proposed this, and I'll tell you privately off air who it is, you know this person very well, wrote, "Awesome news, can't wait to share the news." The jetty part is exciting and awesome.
Yeah. I mean, fishing is one of the great things, and there's nothing like the jetties. I mean, it puts a smile on my face as the sun is rising and I'm bicycling in the morning to see the guys fishing.
Let's say good evening to Joe.
Joe.
I've known Joe for a long time between Ventnor and Atlantic City.
Well,
Joe, you are
with the mayor.
You are on the air. Yes, I am.
Okay,
and you
I've
are
been
too.
going to Notre Dame 35 years for football games.
I love it.
And I'm going Labor Day weekend when they open up with Temple. So if you want some T-shirts for you and your wife, I'll call your show tomorrow morning.
Yeah, I do, Joe.
Okay, I'll bring them back for you.
XL for Fat Boy. That's me. And although I don't consider myself fat, but I'll say it anyhow. And
how about your wife?
A medium.
Okay, you want an XL and a medium?
Yes.
You got it, brother.
Oh, you're the best. Your question for the mayor, Joe.
Don, I grew up in Atlantic City on New Jersey Avenue. Probably before you were born, okay? Moved to Ventnor, been in the same house for 60 years. I used to love Atlantic City, and last Friday night, I took some friends of mine out for dinner, and we went to Margate at the greenhouse upstairs, and then we went over to see my favorite singer at the Borgata, Frankie Valli.
Love him.
So we're going through Atlantic City, and I said, Jesus. And I hate to be critical, but I got to say what I got to say. We're going through, before we get over to the Borgata. And the streets, Mayor, so many places closed up. I know it's not your fault. You came in at a bad time, and you're doing, I think, a really good job. And I see these places closed up, dirt in the street, everything all around, okay? Now, I'm not knocking any news commentator at all, okay? They want to tell you what they want to tell you. Well, I hear these guys on the radio all the time. Atlantic City's coming back. It's coming back. I said, well, if it does, it'll be a miracle as far as I'm concerned. I hope it does. And I think, Don, I can call you Don because I'm older, Mayor. You've been doing a real good job, and I hope you get reelected. You know what I mean? I can't vote for you because I live in Ventnor. But I'd like to hear your opinion on, like, when people check into hotels in Atlantic City. And this is a known fact. They won't put it in the paper or come over the news on the radio. They tell people, don't you walk on the boardwalk at night. It's not safe. I said, what kind of, you understand where I'm coming from? I know we're living in a sick world today in a sick country. And I hope Atlantic City does come back. And I wish you well. I'd just like to have your opinion on the conditions that exist in Atlantic City.
Okay, Joe.
So, Joe, I'll start with the Boardwalk. It is absolutely, by everybody that has any standard, the safest street in the United States. Because of the cameras, because of all the police officers that are up there, I can tell you that this summer with the cameras, if you have a pocketbook that's snatched, we're getting the pocketbook back before they actually open it up. Boardwalk has never been cleaner, never had better wood down, never had better benches, lighting. Everything on the Boardwalk's up. It's very carnival-like, and that's the type of stores that are up there. I'll admit that we haven't changed that. It's a honky-tonk feel there, but depending on the block that you're there, lots of outdoor venues. George Saganis has some beautiful places. You go down to California Avenue, and the Danulis family did a beautiful job with Bungalow, the restaurants that they have out there. On the streets, what happened is in the last year, having no money, we did not replace people in public works. We just moved them over so that they could fill in for trash and recycling. But on August 1st, we went back to a full staff, and we have been very, very diligent cutting weeds, cleaning lots, removing graffiti, picking up trash in vacant lots. The beach has never suffered, or the Boardwalk, but we're really trying very hard to bring it back. Businesses have closed. We still have 25 million people that are coming to Atlantic City, and where a few years ago they were simply going into a casino and then tooling on out afterwards, they're actually stopping in. The best restaurants are actually outside of the casinos at 28, 25, a Chef Vola's. Then the fun places like Ducktown Tavern and the Irish Pub and Piccolini's, Vagabonds and Iron Room and Wonder Bar. They're all slam-packed every night, and that's what we're really looking for. For people that are listening to me and want to come in, we have a grant program now that provides $20,000 for a new business to open up in Atlantic City. If you're renting on the first floor, you can use it for half of your rent for the first 2 years until the $20,000 is out, or you can use the $20,000 to fix up the fronts. A lot of things were broken in the city. I got it. I understand it. All I can tell you is we're trying every day and every week to take back a little bit more of the city, to clean it up, to make it look good, to make sure that when you drive by, you didn't have that bad feeling as you went over to the Borgata, because we want every street to look really good. And all I can say is we are working very hard on it. We haven't given up on that idea, and we're very committed to making sure that we can provide the landscaping, the cleaning for you that are visiting the city, but even more important for my residents that have made the dedicated effort to continue to live there.
Well, Don, I know you're trying, Mayor, and I give you all the credit for that. Like I said earlier, and I'm going to get off real quick, I grew up on New Jersey Avenue, which is a disaster area now, and
yep.
It's just a shame that this thing had happened to a city like Atlantic City. When gambling came in, everybody was all went crazy. This is going to be the savior, right? And all of a sudden, down the tubes it goes.
Well, Joe, come back to at least New Jersey and Atlantic and Pacific, because they're building 250 units of really high-end market-rate housing right in front of Showboat there. You can see the elevator towers are going up. It's just 3 stories, a beautiful building, 250 units of housing, parking underneath, a swimming pool in the center. It's the new type of housing that we've been hoping for the last 20 years, and it is happened to be on New Jersey Avenue. So we're trying to get New Jersey Avenue back. I think as you see the Hard Rock open up, and with let's hope this last development plans for the Revel actually takes off, I think that part of the city, the Southeast Inlet, is really going to kick. It's going to become a residential neighborhood, and it's going to be successful again. But we certainly have our work cut out for us.